What is up, guys? Basic Battles here today, and we have 14 minutes to make some predictions. Now, thankfully, I won't be fumbling over my words too much this time because I already made my predictions for UFC 315. And yeah, we should just get right into it. My overall thoughts on the card is I'm more excited than the average people. Everyone's saying this card's pretty bad. I'm not disagreeing with them, honestly. I'm not saying this card is great. It's like the epitome of a Canada card. But the title fights are intriguing to me, even though I know they have the potential to be boring. But hey, I'm still excited for them. A lot of stakes, obviously. Nice to have a card with that. It even has stakes for International Fight Week in less than 2 months, which is exciting. So, yeah. But the rest of the card has some fights I'm excited for. Yeah, we'll just get right into it, really. Like I said, I already made this, so I'll just it's up here for you guys. Alright, let's just go. Brad Katona versus Bezkat Almakan. Tell me if I get any of the names wrong. Sorry. Almakan had not a really good fight, but he had a decent performance against Umar in his UFC debut last time out, And Katona just hasn't really been impressive at all in his UFC return. He had a great fight with Gibson. I went over Jesse Butler, but losing to Matsumoto isn't the worst loss in the world, but it's just not as impressive. I don't think he's gonna finish Katona because he has never been knocked out before. And the experience is there, so it's not the worst underdog pick if you're picking Katona to win. But I'm not picking him to win. I will pick Belkzat. I'm picking him by decision method. No. Let's go decision. Yeah, that's my prediction there. This one though, Daniel Santos versus Jung Young Lee. I am picking Lee, even though he obviously is, slight underdog, I think. This doesn't say it on here. I wish it had their, actual, but he's an underdog on the Tapology predictions. Yeah, I am picking Lee here. Just a more active fighter, obviously. We haven't seen Santos since nearly 2 years ago. And yeah, Lee did get stopped last year, but I don't know. I just have a gut feeling that he's going to win. He's just going to outwork him. Castaneda's a good win, though, so I wouldn't be too shocked to see Santos win here, maybe even get a stoppage, but I just think this is going to be a little bit of a plotter. I am picking Lee, though. I think he'll work it over. And I'm picking him by decision. Another decision. Nope. Right. This is going to be a tough one right here. Another upset for me, I think Bruno Silva is going to win this one. I just don't like Marc-Andre's last 3 losses here. 2 of them are stoppages, I believe. Yep, did lose to stoppage by. And yeah, Silva hasn't been a spring chicken himself. He's got 4 losses, but only been finished in one of them. He put up some good fights. The verdict page for Bruno Silva has him as the wrong Bruno Silva. It's the bantamweight one, which is pretty funny. Oh man, but I do think this is actually going to be either a firefight or it's going to be a little bit of a poke battle. But I think Silva can just land the harder shots. I'm not doubting Marc-Andre. He's got underrated little power there, but I just don't trust him to win a firefight. So I am choosing Silva by KO. I think he finally gets back in the win column. He's had a rough go of it. They both have, but yeah. Round 1's fine. I think it'll end early. Sterling, City Kickboxing's Oh, don't want to say finest. Big favorite though, I believe. Yeah, minus 290. 6-year age gap, 7-inch reach advantage, or 6-0 undefeated. Haven't had the roughest go of it. Hasn't had the roughest go of it. It just is. It's very easy to pick Sterling here. I don't think it will be the most impressive performance. I don't know if we see a finish here, like most of Tapology's predicting here. I do think it'll be a decision. I think Ivan's really tough, you know. But yeah, I have been to pick Sterling by a decision here. Should be Sterling. Oops. Here. Now here we go. Another firefight. This is why I'm a little bit excited here, because I think we're gonna get a lot of underrated bangers. Like I think we'll see maybe not the most finishes, but we're gonna have one or two like real drag him out beatdowns. And I don't think the favorite gets here. I think Ion, he's just a little too inconsistent. I think his last couple fights have been, you know, his fight against Ivan was kind of a plotter, in my opinion. Oh, the last time, only 2 months ago, where he knocked out Raphael. I always get the names wrong in this. Like, look at that. I do remember that fight though, and it was a good win. I do think this fight takes its time a little bit more than Silva versus Marc-Andre, but I am predicting another finish here. I'm picking Modestas. Modestas. Half the battle with these is just me picking. It's just me getting the names right and wrong. Nope. KO. I think it's round 2-1. When in doubt, pick round 2. You know, just go in the middle. Right here. These two staying active though. You know, both on 2-fight win streaks in the last 7 months, 9 months. Yeah, 2-fight win streaks in the last year. This is actually a much tougher fight to pick than you'd think. Obviously, everyone knows Andrade only fights killers through and through. So, I don't want to say Jasmine is a step down at all. I feel like that's... But, you know, her 4-fight win streak kind of is just... Ariana Lipsky and, you know, Bueno Silva's fallen off the mountain. Priscilla Cachoeira. And obviously, she's only lost to, like... I think she got knocked out by Yan Jianan, and she got subbed by Tatiana Suarez, but then she stringed together like Dern and yeah. Mariana Rodriguez obviously just retired. She went on a massive skid before she did retire. And lost to Natalia Silva, who's, if she wins her fight on this card, she's probably going to have a title shot. So, it's hard not to really pick, but I just think Andrade's just got too many miles on the clock, honestly. I think Jasmine will come in with a good game plan. I think she'll win a decision. We'll see, though. I mean, Andrade, she always makes it dirty, or tries to at least. So if this turns into like a firefight, I won't be surprised. Maybe she'll try to use it wrestling, but I just don't see her getting Jasmine to the ground very easily. Jasmine by decision is my pick here. Not as confident as everyone else says, though. Not at all. Last fight of the prelims right here. Michael Nod is back. His last fight, not Neil Magny, which was last year in January, but then he returned in, I think it was Edmonton was the card? 6 months ago. It was the Rose and, there were 2 fights in Canada. I think it was Rose and Blanchfield, and it was Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi in Canada. And he was on that card, and he won against Trevin Giles. Only decision. not the worst. Trevor Giles isn't the worst fighter in the world, so it's not a bad one at all. Especially bounce back from that disaster that the Neil Magny fight was, the choke job. Charles Raddick's a tough out though. Finishes a lot of fights. He's a dog sometimes. Yeah. This makes sense. If he's gonna end that fight, he's gonna look for the finish. I don't see him pushing Malott to the point where he'll have him, where he'll have him on his back. I don't know. I trust Malott's defense on the feet. I think he'll get him to the ground, and I think he'll outwork him. I think so. I think this will be a decision for Mike Malott, honestly. I know it sounds like I'm just doing these picks on the fly, trying to get through this, but I know I actually did do them before, went through them, but I'm much better at articulating my thoughts in my head than saying them out loud, because, Kyle Propolek, man. Everyone was hoping for Rebecki or Gamrot, and we got this guy. 0-2 at the UFC. Yeah, look at that. Yeah. I think Benoit's going to play this a little safer. I think the first round's actually going to be pretty plotting, which is like it's Benoit Saint Denis. How could that even be possible? He always goes forward and pressure, which is why it's more of a bold prediction that's going to be plotting. But I think it will happen that way. I think the second round, though, I think he's just going to try to wrestle him, only because his last two fights obviously have been disasters for him, honestly. He's gotten the hell beat out of him twice in a row. Why can I not find this? There it is, Jesus. So, yeah. I think he will wear Mr. Killshot out, and I think he'll sub him in round 2. I think he'll find a way round 2, full training camp. God, he's 35 years old, pretty sure. Yeah, he's 0-2 in the UFC, I believe. Minus 1050, I mean. I guess they just want to get like a Canadian on the card. Another one. Another Canadian L, though. Sorry. Alright, now we get to the intriguing stuff. Now, in my opinion, all these 4 fights are decently, exciting. Jose Aldo, obviously legend. Sabit's on a big streak. Grasso literally was champion less than a year ago. Silva's on the rise. Manon's, she's beaten really tough opponents. Valentina just got her belt back. It's just a good fight. Obviously, this one, people really dog him below Muhammad, but I think JDM brings the fight a lot. And if they're both going forward, I can see this being like a real, I can really see them going at each other. Is that how I think it'll go? Probably not. I think one of them's going to secede. Who it is, you'll have to wait and see in like a few minutes. But yeah. So let's start off. This one, Grasso versus Natalia. Natalie? I think it's just Natalia. Natalie. Whatever. I am picking her, but I am surprised Grasso is the underdog here, obviously. Former champ. Beat Shevchenko. There's a couple good wins in there. Obviously, it's weird. I mean, obviously, Natalia is a very, very highly touted. She's on a massive win streak. Just beat Andrade. She beat, who else was it? It was Ruggiero. I mean, Andrea Lee and Victoria Leonardo. I mean, that's not, the craziest resume ever. Obviously, Andrade's a good win. She beat her 30-27. Her style's really flashy. It's really entertaining, even though it doesn't really result in the most finishes. But when it does result in a finish, it's spectacular. I don't think she's going to finish Andrade. I just think she's going to throw enough at her. I don't think Grasso has the volume to really keep up here. I feel like even if she does open up, I just don't feel like she has the technique or the power to really, settle Silva down at all. Maybe she'll try to wrestle, but Silva's just really good at she's got solid takedown defense too. So it's just it's not the best matchup for Grasso. It makes sense that she's the underdog. I'm just still surprised because obviously she's still number one in the division and she's still, just kind of a trilogy with the champ. So, I'm picking Natalia. If I got her name wrong, please tell me. Like I said, got her by decision. But it's still a good fight. I think it will be a good fight. God, when I first saw this fight, I was like, Zombie, it just doesn't, I know he beat Munoz, but I didn't think that would get him into the top 15 at all. But it did. I'm pretty sure I don't know if he's in there now. But when I first looked at this, I was like, he's number 13 in the world? Really? So yeah, it's definitely a weird fight to put a legend like Jose Aldo in, Yep, number 15. So he still is in the rankings. God, Marcus McGee is 13? I thought he was unranked. He did just beat Jonathan Martinez, though. So I guess it's not totally off the wall that they're making him fight Peter Yan. It's still baffling, but he does have a ranking next to his name. Okay, back to business. Even in his win against Munoz, he didn't really do anything to... Basharat was a good one, Oh, man. Tertios, he has some interesting names on his resume. But Jose... When you actually fight Jose... Mario... Nah, I'm just kidding. Oh, Jose losing those fights. His fight against Merab and his fight against Bautista is definitely his fault. If you wanna clown Bautista for being a boring fighter, fine. But I didn't even think he won the Jose fight, in my opinion. I thought Jose did more damage, but that's not the point. The point is Jose kind of just settled a lot, and that's a problem with him. But I don't think Zabi has that kind of style where he can just grind on you for 3 rounds. I don't think that's the fight this is going to be. I think it's going to be more out in space, more in Aldo's nature, and that's why I think he's going to win. I still think so. I think he opens up some avenues to make this a much more exciting fight, We'll see. He can land a shot or two. But I just think this is tailor-made for an Aldo decision. I don't know how much... If he opens up enough, I think, honestly, maybe we could see a late finish, which is very rare for Jose Aldo, especially... Has he finished anyone of Bantamweight yet? Has he? Let's take a look. He obviously had that crazy performance against Rob Font, where he knocked him down multiple times. But yeah. He got finished by Peter Yan. Race decision. Beat Vera, Munoz, Font by decision. And yeah. All decisions. So no, he has not. So it'd be extremely rare and unprecedented, but we'll see. I think it's just a step... I don't know, actually. Sebi versus Martinez. You can flip that coin. I am picking Jose Aldo, though, by decision. Title fight time. Manon versus the Bullet. Here's why I'm picking Manon Fiorot. And no, it's not... Okay, so I remember Manon. She's actually... I can just get this out the way. It's kind of a little biased of me to pick her. Because she is one of my favorite fighters. At least one of my favorite... No, she's one of my favorite fighters in general, honestly. Because one of my first fight nights I ever watched. This will show you how new to the sport I am, relatively. I've only got 4 years in this sport. Coming up on 4 years. I think it's 4 years in May. So a little bit. First ever pay-per-view was Chandler versus Oliveira for the belt. 261, so I do think it's May 2021. And Manon Fiorot finished Tabitha Ricci brutally in one of my first fight nights I ever watched. So, it was crazy. And from then on, I've just been rooting for her ever since. It's just been nice. I rooted for her against Rose, against Aaron, against what other fights did she have during that? Against Caitlin Chukagier. And everyone thought she was going to lose that against Aaron. No siree. I just think I didn't think she would hold her off that well. And honestly, if she can hold Blanchfield off that well, who I think has some of the best grappling in the division, easily, I do think she'll be able to hold up Valentina. Now, obviously, Valentina, much more well-rounded, much more experienced in 5-round fights, a great champion, and she's going to pose probably a lot more problems than Blanchfield did, just based off of how, crazy her striking pedigree is in the cage and just in general. But, Fioric's just got that, instinct that I think will help her in the grappling. And I think she's really well put on the feet, She's good at countering. She's good on the back foot. She's got a solid 1-2. She throws kicks a lot. I think she'll pepper Valentina. Valentina is more of like, I don't want to speak on things like this, but just the way that she fights, I feel like she's just more of an impact striker. Like, she's always trying to land that really significant blow. Like, always throwing 100% into that 1-2. I feel like Manon will just annoy her a lot in this. And maybe Valentina will try to shoot in rounds 3 in the late rounds, which would be smart because obviously she's probably got a lot better. She's probably a lot better there. Better than Fiorot. But I just think that Fiorot will pepper. I think she'll defend the takedowns well early, and I think she'll steal a good number of rounds. I think she'll at least get like the first 2, And then Valentina will take some risk, and it's up to Manon to see how she handles it, but I think she'll win a decision here. I don't think we'll see a finish here. I think both fighters are really defensively sound. I don't think Fiorot's like gonna catch her in like a back thing. Maybe that'll be it. Maybe Valentina will panic like she did against, not really panic really, but she just made some mistakes in the Grasso fight where she lost the belt. So she made some mistakes in the rematch too, where she got dropped and she ended up on her back. Yeah. But Fiorot, she's just like a really, really mistake-free fighter, honestly. She just fights smart and she sticks to the game plan. So I just think that'll help her out. I'm picking her in an upset. Is Valentina the favorite now? I thought Fiorot was the... Okay. Whatever. Picking her by decision. Another decision? Oh my god. Poor Canada. Am I right or am I right? But yeah. Upset pick. Upset at least Topology. And I didn't even know that it was also. Yeah. And new. Will we see an and new here though? The big one. I don't think so. Actually, today when I was doing my picks, I was really like leaning towards Jack Della. But when you think about it, and you think about Della Madalena's resume, these last few fights, he had that fight with Burns where he was losing both rounds before he got the finish, and he had a broken arm, to be fair. He went to splits with Kevin Holland and Basil Hafez. And I just don't think his grappling is good enough to survive Bilal, especially considering how improved Bilal is on the feet. I was really surprised about how well he was doing against Leon in their rematch when he took the belt. He obviously knocked out Sean Brady, but that was a while ago. Brady's improved a lot now. But yeah, was that oh yeah, he did beat Gilbert in that 5-round. That is it. Yeah, okay, cool. I totally scratched that Gilbert Burns 5-rounder from my mind because Gilbert got injured in the first round, and it was just kind of a teeping at him until the scorecards were read. I do think JDM has the power. I think he has that crazy one strike. I think if he's flowing, it'll be a good fight for him. But I just don't see him putting Bilal on the back foot at all. At all. Now, even after Bilal really got to Leon, even after he was controlling him for most of the fight, 2 out of the 3 rounds, 2 out of 3 out of the 4 rounds, Leon still landed some crazy strikes in that 5th round that cut him open. So I feel like JDM can capitalize on any opening that Bilal gives him. But Bilal's just suffocating, honestly. He really is. And this is a really tough fight to pick for me. But I'm going to pick Bilal by decision. I'm just going to go with the status quo. That's what I'm doing. I think it'll be a good fight. But I think if JDM comes to play, it'll be really hard to beat him, honestly. I just don't trust his counter game, with Bilal's pressure, his grappling, his steady boxing, his takedown threat, all of that. But if JDM could somehow get him on the back foot, maybe catch him with a counter, I feel like it'll be, if he gets Bilal hurt at any point, I feel like that it'll be really hard for Bilal to survive that. But yeah, so I'm going with Bilal Muhammad by decision. And that's it. That's all my picks. There you go. Alright. That's it. You guys saw all my picks. Thank you for watching. Go Caps. And yeah. Enjoy UFC 315 and tell me your picks in the comments.